You know, I read a few months ago in the paper where there was a golfer on the professional golf tour. He won the tournament. He realized after he won the tournament and he got back to the wherever his equipment was, and I don't know that much about golf, but you can only have so many clubs in your bag according to the rules. Well, he realized he had an extra golf club or two in his bag than what the rules dictated. And so he went back and gave his trophy back and forfeited the game. Nobody knew, nobody would have known, but he would have known. Now that's honesty, that's integrity. Yeah. I respect that. Those are the kind of principles that I was taught. I read in the paper the other day that there's a homeless man. He's working, but he's staying at a shelter in Arizona, I believe. He was trying to save money for a car, didn't have the money. In fact, that he is just paying off his bills, and his bank account was actually negative $65. And he found a backpack. I don't know if it was some bus station or train station. And in the backpack was $3,500. Now you can imagine what went through his head, and he talked about what went through his head. When you're broke, you don't even have a place to live, and your bank balance is negative. And he said he was tempted, sure. But he tracked down the person. He found, not easy, but he found whose backpack it was. It was a college kid person who had the money in there to buy something, and he found him and gave it back to him. And he said nobody would have known any different, but he would have. And see, we're the people we have to live with and go to bed with every night. And when we get back at the end of our life, we're going to look at how we lived it. And that's going to be the most rewarding part of our life or not. What do we do with our life? You know, I've seen my parents focus on other people, impacting other people, and because of that, having all the riches and lifestyle than you can imagine. Once they got what they wanted to get out, they could focus fully on helping other people get what they want to get. I think it's worth making enough money in this business where you can meet all of the things that you'd ever wanted. A home, a car, sending your kids to college, all of the things that you could imagine that would be success to you. And there's a certain point, once you have that, once you have the time to go with it, it's amazing the insight and clarity that you have in your life that will come to you. What's really important to you. And you realize that really you never had that clarity and focus ever before because you were putting all your time into something else to help somebody else's dreams come true and enough so you could get by. You might have been scratching for every dollar and you held on to it tightly because you knew how hard those dollar bills came. And then when you had enough of them and you didn't have to worry and you knew that the check was going to come in again the next month and it was likely going to be bigger than the check you just got or you got last month, then you start to have to really ask yourself, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What do I want to have? What is my purpose in life? And you start to put more attention on other people than you ever did when you were just getting by. And it's amazing what I've seen within the diamonds and the leaders that get to that point, how purpose-driven they become. You know, and what I'm driven by is I want to see success of the team. I want to see more people be able to come home from having a job or to be able to watch mothers raise their children. To be able to get the good things in life, drive the car they want to drive, live in the neighborhood they want to live in. And then to see what really is important to them. When they've got all their needs taken care of, when they've got time and free time, they can really live, not just merely exist. And it's been a phenomenal journey, but the journey is just always beginning. Today is absolutely the first day of the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished or what you haven't so far. This is a new year. This is a new day. It doesn't matter who you know or who you don't know. What matters is that you're connected to this team. A team that encourages, that empowers, that sets the example for a better life. Living life on a higher level on everything. to know that success is possible and you don't have to be a crook to get there. Because if maybe you didn't grow up in a success-minded family like my parents didn't, they thought that if you were to be successful, that means that you had to screw somebody or be dishonest or be a crook. To imagine and have your eyes open that you actually could become successful by doing something so worthwhile as helping other people improve their lives. My parents didn't know 5 people that lived outside of their town. And I don't know how many people are on the Jaeger group around the world now, but we're told it's 1 million people or more, and they didn't know 5 people. I don't know what your desire is, but maybe mine's too much out there for you and aspirational. I want to help people. My life mission is to help people climb over the bucket of that crab, not get pulled back in. In the pail, the bucket that people are in life, to look up, to stand up, to take a peek over the pail and see what's out there. See what's possible. See what life could be, to help them crawl out of the 95% and into the 5%. I want to have people have hope. I want to help people have faith, not fear. I want to see people have victories, not defeat. I want to see people have positive relationships, not negative. I want people to understand that failure is a part of success. Failure is not a bad thing. I want to teach people that failure is a good thing. Success is reserved for the people who are willing to fail until they succeed. I'm glad people have to fail to succeed. I'm glad this business isn't easy. It's simple, but it takes work. I would be discouraged if I went to Diamond Club in Hawaii and met a lot of diamonds that didn't know how they got there. No, those are the people that had to face failure over and over again until they succeeded. I want to see people experience victory in their life. Small victories and big victories. You know, the biggest thing we have to overcome in life is ourself. We have to get rid of the baggage, the mental weight of our machinery of the past and failures and disbelief, lack of confidence. My dad didn't have confidence when he got started, but he had enough faith to believe that he could find people who did have confidence. He didn't think he had the ability. He had a stuttering problem. He could not talk to people without stuttering. But he was either smart enough or desperate enough that he realized it didn't have to be about him. He didn't have to be focused on himself. The way this plan works, he could go out and find people who had what he didn't have. Right? And so I love helping people succeed and find victory. Maybe that's just $200 a month or $500 a month. That's victory. As leaders, we have to set the expectation for our team. We help get them expect victory for the team. And we're not just sharing the idea of hope, which is great. We have a vehicle. We have a pathway. We want to teach people to choose faith over fear. My biggest fear in building this business 20 years ago was talking to people. Believe it or not. Forget about talking to a group this size. I couldn't talk to one person about the business. I was intimidated, for one thing, having a Crown Ambassador as parents. I was supposed to know everything before I even had any experience. So my dad was great. He helped me mentally, but he didn't do anything for me in the business. He just kicked me out there to fail, because that's what I needed to learn. To fail and to keep failing and to know that failure is good. Failure is a process of success. Most people don't achieve success because they don't continue. They think that failure is the wrong thing, not the pathway to success. I want to help people get their activity enough to go out and expose this business to enough people, to share the product with enough people till they can overcome whatever fear they have. Looking back, it's kind of ridiculous. I laugh at the fear that I had, but I felt it. And I think that when fear comes and knock on your door, most people run. But when you have faith and you answer the door, you realize that there's nobody there. The fear, when you stand up, the fear will disappear. Most people worry in life about all the things that could be bad happen to them. Mark Twain said something. He said that I've been through some terrible circumstances in my life, and a few of them have actually happened. It means most things that people fear, the circumstances they go through mentally, never happen, but they hold them back from success. We got to just keep acting and keep moving forward. The answer is always keep marching forward. Don't turn around and retreat. You got a whole team of people that can back you up here. You know, here's what the difference between fear and faith. Fear weakens. Faith strengthens. Fear imprisons. Faith liberates. Fear paralyzes us. Faith empowers us. Fear disheartens us. Faith encourages us. Fear sickens us. Faith heals us. I just want you to develop the heart of a champion. And it's not wrong to have doubts. My parents had doubts. I had doubts. But because I fed my fear, every time I would feed my fear, my doubts would get smaller. And my dad would always ask things. When young and growing up, my dad would always ask people, do you believe? I remember being young thinking, do people know what he's talking about? And, because he would just say, do you believe? And it's funny, we had a double diamond downline speak at a conference we had last year named John Crow, and talked about 30 years ago when he got in the business. And he said he kept hearing about this guy named Dexter Yeager, the big man. And so he drove all the way to this function to find out about this big man. He walks in the function, and there's this short guy up on stage talking. I asked his upline, where's Dexter? He said, there he is up there. Can't be. That guy that I've been listening to on the audio, he can't be that big voice. And he said he stood up in line to meet him after the function, waited 2 hours. And Dexter came in line and looked him in the eyes, as only Dexter can. And he shook his hand. He said, do you believe? He didn't know what to say. He was asking the same question that I was thinking. To believe in what? Finish the sentence. He said he didn't say it, but he's thinking that's kind of a crazy question. And but what Dexter was asking, I understood as I grew up, that we all need to believe more. We can operate on faith, we can operate on belief. But when we all got to ask ourselves a question about our doubts, I encourage you to doubt your doubts. To doubt your doubts. There's nothing wrong with being skeptical. It's just something wrong with being cynical. Be skeptical of your doubts. Give the same skeptical you have of your dreams to your doubts. What Dexter was trying to do, I realize, he was getting you to ask the question yourself. What do I believe? Do I believe it'll work? Well, then you get thinking deeper. Well, does this business work? Well, obviously there's too much success to say that it doesn't work. Do the products work? Obviously, these are great products that you doesn't take but trying them once to learn that they're great products. Does a team work? Does a system work? Obviously, doesn't take a scientist to realize. The question most people have is, will it work for me? Do I believe it'll work in me? So I encourage you, ask the question and then answer that question. And see, the real question you have is, can I do it? And so I asked myself that same question. With all the success around me, I said, can I do it though? We look at the people like the Emeralds on the front row and the Alfaros, and we think maybe we don't stand up or measure up. I wish you could see all of them when they started. It's not fair to look at them now, because you'd say, if they can do it, I can do it. I had the question, can I do it? But I also had a question enough times by seeing other people who've done it that if they can do it, I can do it. So I needed to ask the question and prove it. I needed to do it because I needed to prove that it would work. And I needed to answer that question. And the only way you can answer that question is to do it. So you can prove it to yourself. So I want to ask you on this Sunday night in Chicago, do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe? Think diamond, diamond, diamond. When, what? When, what, How? 5 and 6 nights a week, right?
See?
Put the effort in that this business deserves.
Well,
You deserve it. We believe in you.